What's going on? Kind of a gray day here at Camp Kenan, so it prompted me to start working on the Russian tortoise pen. These guys are from Afghanistan. They're a great pet tortoise. These are long-term captives. They don't generally want to be out in wet weather. Certainly don't want to keep them cold and wet. Very important to keep them dry if they're cold, or they'll certainly get a respiratory infection and die. So what I've been doing here today is I've been making, if you look behind me, I've been making some more tortoise bunkers, and I've been waterproofing them a little bit better. I kind of put a rubber liner over the top underneath the ground. So you dig your trench, you put your cave in, which is nothing more than a plastic culvert pipe. Then I cover it with pond liner so that water doesn't seep through, and you fill it back in. But then, what do you do to make it look nice? You just take some stone and you put it around the edges there, around the entrance. And I also took some spineless cactus, which is going to hold the soil in place. It's also going to be a food source, and you have to kind of put your Alcatraz fencing around it to keep these little guys out. They're actually very strong, and they will eat that stuff down to nothing. So make sure if you have some plants and you want them to get established, that you that you put some kind of fencing around it, or else this would be gone in less than 5 minutes. They are ravenous little dudes. So here are the stones. You put them on the front. Inside is just a plastic pipe cut in half. It's really cool, and it's dry in there. So what's going to happen now when we get these really bad downpours, I'm going to come out, I'll make sure all the tortoises are in, I can block the entrance off, and it's going downhill, so there'll be no water collecting inside here. It's actually very dry inside here. Check it out. Let's see. Oh yeah, let's see. Here's the soil. Look at that. Dry soil, baby. That's what you want. You don't want these guys getting oppressively wet. A little rain's no big deal. But when you get rains like we do in Florida, just pouring over a course of 2 or 3 days, then things can get a little dodgy for these guys. So, number one, important to make sure you have an animal that is acclimated to the climate you live in. Number two, then you want to make sure that you replicate as best as you can its natural environment. So I stress outdoor enclosures. If you want to do it yourself, there's a few things you just got to remember. One, make sure your perimeter fence is secured into the ground. I usually go about 18 inches down. You see that perimeter fence right there? That goes 18 inches into the ground, so these guys can't dig out. Nothing can dig in. If you want, you can run a hot wire around it. I have a hot wire around the whole 2.5 acres here at Camp Kenan, so I'm pretty good in that regard as far as predators. Very important to make sure you can keep predators out. Otherwise, they'll need a water area, which we've got. See that little water bowl? Even though these guys aren't big drinkers, I like to give them that option because it's very important, even for desert or dry species, to have a water source. And you got to have shelter, and we've got it. We also have a food supply. We're going to grow these cactus. We also have some grass here. Very important. These are a grazing species, so they do like to walk around and graze. So all bases are covered. How do you like that? So enjoy. Talk to you soon.